right, 99.9 Punk World Radio FM. You guys already know what's happening. It's right here. We are live for a special afternoon broadcast here in Canada. We actually have the United Kingdom's finest. That's right. We got HoneyTalks right here, live on the radio station airwaves. HoneyTalks, first and foremost, thank you so much for giving us a bit of your evening and just accommodating the time zone and the time frame of this interview. I was super stoked for this interview and so happy to have you guys here on the radio station airwaves. This evening, I should say, for you guys.
Yeah, thanks so much, man.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's 10 p.m. here, or just gone 10 p.m. But you know, as musicians, never sleep. You're always doing something in music, so we couldn't think of anything better than speaking to you today.
Well, I gotta say, thank you so much. It's definitely an honor to speak to the United Kingdom's finest, but since it is 10 p.m., obviously I'm not going to take too much of your times tonight, but I gotta take you back to the beginning of this amazing band, and I have to ask, like, how did you three actually get together and come together as one just to form HoneyTalks? Because you guys have such phenomenal chemistry when it comes to a band.
Yeah, it was all very, very organic, really. I've been in music projects with Dave before, and I knew Lauren all the way from school. So so we were good friends anyway, and it all kind of happened throughout lockdown. So COVID hit, and it made me realize what I missed the most, and I really missed music and going to gigs and playing music and everything that comes with that. So I put a few songs together, and long story short, I asked Dave and Lauren if they wanted to be if they wanted to be a part of it, and I'm so glad that they said yes. And and here we are today. It was just very, very organic, I guess, the way we did it.
And it's great to hear as well that the COVID lockdown actually brought people together. You hear so many stories of how it kind of tore people apart and couldn't see one another, but it's actually good to hear a positive story come out of such a dark and depressing situation. It's great to hear that you guys came together just to actually form this band during COVID.
Yeah, it was. I think it's one of those things, isn't it? You can take the negatives from it and you can take the positives from it, and each are just as bad and good as the other. You know, it's what you kind of make of your time, isn't it? In lockdown, and when you can't see friends and family and you can't do the things you want to do, you have to take positives out of it. That's what we did.
And also, January 5th of 2022, HoneyTalks actually released the amazing single titled New Heights. I was wondering if you can actually just tell us a bit more about this particular release song, and of course, like, what was the inspiration behind it? Because I have to say, this song is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, so a lot of our songs, probably the majority of our songs, are actually about mental health and going through tough times, and we sugarcoat it in pop punk music, you know. So that's kind of what New Heights was. New Heights was one of our first singles that we had together for the EP, I would say, and it just kind of represents the emotion you go through when you are depressed and you don't want to get out of bed, and you struggle to just get up and do things day to day. It's difficult, so that's what New Heights kind of represented a little bit. It was like, I'm kind of sick of everything. It's almost like you just want to embrace the depressive kind of state that you're in, and that's kind of what New Heights is about.
And also today, you guys are currently signed to Affiant Records out of Dallas, Texas. I was wondering if you could actually just tell us the story behind this record deal. And of course, how did you guys actually get connected with Kate? Because obviously, as we already know, you are out there in the United Kingdom. She's out there in Dallas, Texas. I know social media is such an amazing work of art that can bring people together. But how did you guys actually kind of like link up and first hear of one another?
We just flirted on Instagram.
It's all about the flirt.
Yeah, we're coming back from London. We'd been to watch All Time Low, I think. We were on a coach back, and Ad was liking some posts. He noticed that Affiant were looking at our stories and stuff. We started liking their stuff. They liked our stuff, and it just sort of grew from there.
Yeah. I gotta say, the best business relationships honestly happen throughout social media, especially those liking back and forth. It's almost like the relationship started to, like you said, kind of like flirting back and forth in a way.
Yeah. It's like being back at school.
Yeah.
But I have to say, definitely a shout out to Kate. Such a phenomenal businesswoman. You know, since she discovered our radio station, she's been getting us connected with amazing bands such as yourselves. So I just got to give her a live shout out and to say thank you so much for all you do for not just radio stations, but also amazing bands like HoneyTalks.
Yeah,
I mean, phenomenal.
Yeah, Affiant is superb. William and Kate, they're just such nice people, and they're very genuine, which is what I think. That's what kind of connected us to them in the first place, is the authenticity that they had. It wasn't all about you hear some kind of record labels, some of the bigger labels, they kind of sometimes they don't look after the bands that they have, but we don't have any of that with Affiant. It's very much like we're like a family, like HoneyTalks are a family, and then we've just extended it with Affiant now as well, and they're great. Yeah, we couldn't ask for a better label, really.
And I have to say, I definitely agree with your words. A lot of labels, I've heard some horror stories about record labels, but I think all those labels should start taking notes from Affiant to kind of take those notes and actually use them to how they treat their artists. Because I've heard some horror stories when it comes to like Universal and Sony and all those companies. It's like, man, like I couldn't imagine being an artist and having to go through that stuff.
Yeah. Their business model and their mission, it's all very genuine, and that's why we were so intrigued by them in the first place. I mean, we'd had other people kind of approach us, but we didn't want to go with them. So as soon as Affiant came along, we were like, these guys look really, really good, and lo and behold, they are good. They're really good. They're great to us, and it's we're just looking forward to the future with them as well. Really looking forward to it.
And also, October of 2023, HoneyTalks was featured on world-renowned British broadcast station BBC Music on the segment Introducing. I was wondering if you can actually just tell us a bit more about that opportunity. What was it like having the opportunity to hear your music being broadcasted all over the United Kingdom by Adam Walton?
Go
on, Lauren, you go.
Absolutely phenomenal. God, the lights even went then. We've got a storm here. It's like going crazy.
Mine literally did as well.
Did yours do as well?
Yeah.
Blooming storm disco around here. Yeah, it was phenomenal. Like hearing, I guess it's like any artist, play stuff anywhere really, and on the BBC especially, it was just like, yeah, insane. We're just like super grateful for people that like our music, play our music. It's just the best. Buzzing.
And especially as well, the BBC is such a world renowned. I know it's mainly British renowned, but I don't care where you are in the world. If you say you have not heard of the BBC, you must have been living under a rock or something. Because down here in Canada, we're very familiar with the BBC. We don't have it on our cable stations, but we all know the BBC. It's kind of like CBC. Like your BBC is kind of like the CBC of Canada down here. So.
Yeah, it's one of the things you need to do as an artist in the UK is, sign up to the BBC platform, add songs into Introducing Uploader, and just try and contact your local DJs and stuff. It's the way to do it, and then it just progresses. Then
And also, September 29th of 2023, HoneyTalks released a phenomenal 5-track EP titled "There's Hope and Hopeless." I was wondering, what is the story behind this record? And of course, is there actually any hard copies available to be streamed or purchased today if we haven't already done so?
We don't have any hard copies, unfortunately. It's something we were working on. But as usual, finances and other things just happen. But yeah, the story behind the EP is it's quite mixed, really. Again, we try and take all those ideas of mental health in there, along with day-to-day life, and try and make it very relatable, because we like the honesty in what we do. So we try and put that into our records, and we think that kind of comes across quite well, and we think that's why people do enjoy our music, because it is relatable, and there's just different elements there, throughout the whole EP. And again, we just like to sugarcoat it in that high energy punk rock kind of vibe, and yeah, we were really pleased with it. We absolutely loved it. We really enjoyed making it as well. Yeah, really, really good.
And I have to say as well, the EP is absolutely phenomenal. I've been thoroughly enjoying it. I've been streaming it down here in Canada. We've been playing a few of the songs as well on the radio station, getting nothing but positive reviews. So I can only imagine what you guys have in your arsenal for the next record, because this is absolutely stellar.
Yeah, it's always whenever you release something which you're really proud of and you get a good response to, you've always got that pressure then of releasing something better, right? But we're working on new music, and we like the way that it's going, the direction it's going. We think people will enjoy it. It's a little bit different, but it's still very much us.
And also, June 11th of 2022, I know we're going back in time there for a minute, but you guys actually released your debut EP titled Over It, Looking Back. Looking back on that particular album, I was wondering, how would you say your music has progressed from the first EP leading up to this most recently released one? Because they're both phenomenal records, and you can definitely hear your progression throughout the music from your first up into the second EP.
Oh, do you want to get this one, guys?
I think we've grown up a bit. Like how can you put it? Like that Over It was like us in our teenage years, where we're a bit angry about it, and you can hear that it has got like that raw energy. Whereas There's Hope and Hopeless was like a bit more refined. We've grown up a bit. We're understanding our emotions and our listeners' emotions, and what is going to sort of connect us all together. And I think we're going to sort of, for the next EP and the next sort of musical recording, we're going to double down on that and grow up a little bit more and start, I don't know, acting our age.
Maturing.
Yeah.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with having fun, especially expressing that throughout your music.
Yeah, well, that's the idea, man. But we just want it to be we want it to be relatable as well, because everybody's going through stuff. COVID changed a lot of people, blah, blah, blah. We're just like, I don't know, we just like to be relatable and be like, oh yeah, we got you, man. We get it too. Let's go have a good time about it.
And also, December 14th, so just a matter of like weeks ago, you actually put up a teaser on your HoneyTalks official Instagram page saying 2024 incoming, with a behind-the-scenes video of Lauren just absolutely shredding it on the drum kit. I was wondering if you can actually just tell us the backstory behind this 2024, and of course, what can we expect? Because I'm assuming you guys were in a studio making new music, but from what you are allowed to speak about, what can we expect from this 2024 little hint?
I'd say like probably a bit like heavier, like a bit more emo. I guess like what Dave touched on earlier, like just like maturing. I can definitely see it like being like a journey, and it seems to have like happened like naturally as well, wouldn't you say, guys? Where it's like, yeah, like we said, the first EP and then the second, they've all kind of, it's still us, but yeah, just maturing and kind of growing as a band. But yeah, definitely more emo. Get emo vibes on this.
Yeah, I'd say we've the thing is with us is we always like creating, we're not just one of these bands who enjoys going out and playing live. We really, really enjoy creating music, and the songwriting for me especially is my bread and butter. It's what I love. I could do it every single day for the rest of my life. But when you do it so much, you create lots of different sounds and different lyrics and different ideas, and we're all like that as well. So one day, we'll come into practice with a completely different song, and we'll just work on it, and it'll come out like HoneyTalks, and that's the beauty of songwriting as well, and being creative. It's you can make whatever you want, and we feel that the direction we're taking it is the direction that we feel it's just going naturally, and that's what we've done since the start, is just leave everything quite natural, and we feel like naturally it's moving this way. So we're excited, man. We're really excited.
And I have to ask, what is next for HoneyTalks? Like, obviously, we touched base on the most recent album. We talked about the stuff that you're currently working on in the studio for 2024. Well, what is next for HoneyTalks? Like, is there anything we happen to miss during this afternoon, or in your case, I should say, this evening's interview? Anything else you still want to touch on, talk about, or promote?
Oh, we've got all sorts going on next year.
So we're in the studio pretty early on in February. We're recording an EP. I don't even know how many tracks we're going to do. We've got so much stuff to put out, but it's going to be a hard process of picking what we do. We've got a bunch of shows lined up. Perhaps a little tour, maybe. Yeah, I guess the best thing to do is just look at our social media, and then we'll tell you what we're doing when we're doing it, I guess.
And of course, before we actually part ways, what are your guys' social media handles? Obviously, I know how to follow you on social media, but for the individuals that might just be discovering HoneyTalks out here in Canada this evening, how can we actually go about following you guys?
So you can get us at HoneyTalks Official on most things. In Twitter, it's HoneyTalks with 3 S's on the end, randomly. And yeah, you can get each one of us as well. We all have HoneyTalks at the end of our tags as well. So you can find us pretty much anywhere. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, but all the usual places. You can find us.
And I have to say, Adam, Dave, Lauren, thank you so much for giving not only myself, but the radio station airwaves a bit of your time. And of course, bearing through that crazy storm you guys currently got going on there in the UK, and actually still coming on the air. I greatly appreciate it. I know I noticed your lights flickering a few times during the interview, but I'm glad that the internet and the power actually stayed on long enough for us to actually conduct this. And I hope all 3 of you guys actually stay safe during the storm, and it rides out perfectly for you guys.
Thank you. It's our pleasure, man.
Thank
you so much.
Thanks, dude.
You're most certainly welcome. Have yourselves a wonderful night.
Thank you.
And you too. Take it easy.
Yes, thank you so much.